going to go ahead and play it.
Hit it. Now all we need is the two of you, Susie and Catherine.
Okay, all right, we'll end that. Oh,
Do your soft shoe. That would be the icing on the cake with that introduction. Perfect.
so welcome everyone. This is our second edition of Get Real with ECAR. And last week we had Kathy Elson. This week we have President Greg Hanner with ECAR. And we have a small crowd, but we're going to share a few tips and tools of the trade. Lee, you're going to get to introduce yourself as well as one of our newest affiliates. Welcome aboard. And welcome, Loretta. So what's going on, everybody?
Well, we were talking to Loretta earlier. How about Linda? Linda, you got any updates? What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Hi there. Oh, it's crazy out there. Crazy market. So I'm in Niantic. So lots of multiple offers. I am in a pickle with a tenant that will not leave.
Who isn't?
Oh, no.
No, but the closing was scheduled last week. They, and thankfully everybody signed the COVID addendum, but buyers want out, and this is a new one. I know we've heard about it, that it's a possibility. I remember back in March, but I'm in the thick of it, and I represent the seller.
The tenant won't leave, and there's a moratorium on evictions, right?
It keeps getting extended. Right now it got extended to October 1st, and now we're looking at could extend again to February, or first I heard November 26th. So these tenants are riding the train.
Yep.
And so the buyer doesn't want to buy it because of this lingering tenant.
Yeah.
They could buy it, right, and just take over the lease agreement, but no.
Yeah. I mean, they could, but you'd be. I never tell my
Who would
buyers.
do that?
I never recommend that.
Is the tenant paying?
Believe it or not, they are. They tried not to this last month. Now they have an attorney, but and I don't represent the tenant. I represent the seller, but I still have been sending all these tons of options in the same price range where they could go, and they're hunkering down. It's a tough one. So I don't know if anybody else is going through one. So, I mean, right now it's passed to the attorneys, but all are happy with the multiple offers, and this one was way above asking, so we're going to lose it, and it stinks. It really stinks.
Is it a single family or multifamily?
Single.
Yeah, so it's a single family that the buyer wants to use as a single family. They're not an investor.
No, they're first-time home buyers. It all went through, yeah. So it's just that part of what's happening in the world today. That's been a rough one. And obviously, multiple offers and how prepared you need to be, and how to urge a buyer to be prepared. Get these letters in order. Make sure they're ready. Make sure you're ready to offer above.
Yeah.
So,
well, we do know that the National Association is vigorously opposing the extension to the eviction moratorium due to COVID. So we're fighting on behalf of our members and landlords as well. But
yeah, I could see the couple of months, and I could see if they could prove that they lost their job. These particular folks work, and they constantly say, they let us show it. They let us do the home inspection. They let us do the appraisal. So we had the feeling they were leaving, and then they stopped all of a sudden trying, right before the closing.
and the lease was ending.
It expired July 1st, and we gave them notice mid-June. So we had all these things in order. The house didn't go live until July 11th. So thinking the date would stay, and then it got extended.
So does the eviction moratorium actually apply when the tenant is paying rent? I
Yeah.
mean, that like, isn't it supposed
It's
to be
not
so
fair.
the tenant doesn't have to pay rent and can
Well-
stay because of COVID
Yeah.
economic fallout?
The attorneys are urging, they pay, and as long as they're paying, it's as if it's a month to month, even though they never signed a new lease. I'm just going with the attorneys, leave it in their hands and stuff, but it's just heartbreaking to see what the seller is going through. And because it's the end of the summer, it happens to be a house right across the street from Rocky Neck, where I don't believe we're going to get the same price that we got before. So
Jeez.
that stinks.
Who's the
Well-
attorney, Linda?
Andrew Salemi, and he's great. He's great, and he happens to live across the street from the tenant.
Well, Linda, Linda,
Small world.
Maybe Andrew needs to have a conversation with Yona Gregory. I know she does a lot with landlord tenant.
You know what? I just gave my owners, my sellers, her phone number.
I already called her. I'm in the exact same position. I already
Okay.
called her office, and there's no recourse. It doesn't matter if there's no legal right for them to be there. There's no recourse. It doesn't matter, because we were trying to get in. Well, it's not because they're not paying the rent. It's because the lease is expired. It doesn't matter. I already called Yona's office. We're stuck at the mercy. The only thing is, I did contact someone who is maybe willing to do like mediation, and the only thing I can think of is get the buyers and the seller to put together a lawsuit saying you will pay us for the loss of income for doing this, or something like that. You've got to give them a reason to get out. Right now they don't have one, so yeah, don't even bother Yona.
Wow, this
Well-
is educational.
well,
Really.
wait a sec. Well, Linda, I want to thank you for giving Susie and Catherine their topic for next week.
Oh,
Gonna have
Landlord
to
tenant.
be legal. It's gonna be a nice legal chat next week.
Well, not only that, but I have a condo as well that I've been wanting to sell anyway. I want to do other things, and the market is so great. I've
yes.
asked my tenant if she wants to buy it, and it's not going to happen that way. So now that you're saying this, I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't even bother, because what if I do get another buyer, my tenant decides, I've been here for 8 years, I'm not going to move.
I know. And actually we gave the tenant the first right to purchase. So gave them mortgage information. I still don't want to represent them. I don't ever want to represent them. But I gave them phone numbers. Here, call for a mortgage. And they're actually approved, and they could have purchased. But they wanted to pay what Zillow said, not what we actually, the appraisal came in at.
And my owners offered her significant funds,
we're
significant
there now.
funds to get out. No,
Really?
because
Yeah.
I don't think my tenant's not in a position to, well, my seller's tenant's not in a position to purchase, but he gave her significant, in financial incentive to get out.
Yes,
And
he did
she's
too.
just hunkering down. They don't. There's no
Well-
rents out there. There's not a lot of places to go.
I'll just
Well,
talk.
that's why, I'm sorry, Greg, to interrupt. One last thing on your point, Loretta, is that you can't get your tenant in your transaction, you can't get the tenant to move, not even with a financial incentive. And what is the reason? Because they don't.
Yes,
have
well,
anywhere
I'll
to
tell
go?
you, my owner is a very kind person and gave a break. She's living there below market rent, and she's got 3 kids. It's just, she's
Same
got
here.
way too comfy because the seller was a nice guy.
Yep. Same
Same.
here. Same here.
Well, I'll say that the sale of a property with a tenant has always been a challenge. 2 years ago, pre-COVID, I remember getting down to the last couple weeks, and I was on the buy side, and I got a call from the listing agent saying, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
And that is the tenant won't leave. And so what ended up happening was the landlord had to write a check for about $2,000 or $2,500 for a security deposit and first month's rent for the tenant to get their new place on the landlord's dime. And it was just cheaper than going through the whole foreclosure process and then months on market. So yeah, buyer beware.
These guys are talking about wanting about 10 grand to leave.
What?
That's
Yeah.
extortion. That's extortion in their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's really horrible. And there's so many violations against the lease anyway, too.
Well, Well, for sure, I want to jump into today's topic and give you guys some real tips that are helpful. And also, I'd encourage you to use chat or at least make a note on any topics, showing time or Sentrilock, or even ImmoViewer if you want to even go there. Take advantage of me while I'm here. I'm free to give you anything and any and all information in terms of the best workflow. I'm going to be sharing my phone screen and regular screen depending on what we jump into. But yeah, I wanted to share, with everybody, because I know this is recorded, so it'll be extended to a larger audience. We've got the best lockbox system in the area. I happen to use both Sentrilock and Supra because of my geographic coverage. But the orientation that we do for our new ECAR members, I realized that, geez, these agents don't even know the fact that, number one, that there's two different lockbox systems that they may end up getting, or that they may encounter. And they need to know the one that does not look like this, if it's the big blue one, that's a problem if they don't have the Supra box. The Sentrilock, they do have it, and it's not all, especially the new agents. We're now gonna try to make sure that they understand that included in their membership at ECAR is the access to these boxes. So if they want to be, making good acquaintances and start things off right, asking for one-day codes repeatedly isn't a good thing. Get the it's a one-time activation code that Catherine's going to be able to address in terms of simplification of that process that we're going to encourage so that we have less one-day codes. Do you want to jump into that, Catherine, on that topic?
First of all, Greg, why do you think that people, when they go into, come into the association, they just got their license, why would anyone not start up with access to Sentrilock? If they're going to be showing homes and actively selling real estate, what is the reason? Is it the $30 activation fee? Is it one more fee on top of everything else they just spent, or why? Why?
It could be their broker doesn't. If their broker wants to, be, a few decades ahead of leaving the key under the mat like we used to do in the 50s and 60s, if they still want to use lockbox technology,
right?
Okay, manual lockbox. I mean,
combo box.
The combo box. I'll just say it. It's the most frustrating thing, and I'll tell you why. When I have to go back into my showing time app to get the access code to walk out the door and lock the key back in the door, pain in the rear. So I think it's that. I think it's that they haven't even shown any properties and they don't really know what they're going to encounter. And then the first time that they encounter the lockbox, they're struggling with, and I want to touch on, the showing time. Some of the agents on the listing side don't even use showing time and don't know how to structure that and set it up. So we can hit a lot of different topics here, but I think it's probably lack of education. So today, that's why I wanted to share with people, some of the best practices that I use. And it extends, if you are going to be going where your buyers are asking you to go, if you go into Old Lyme, or you go push west, or you go into Colchester, you are going to hit Supra. You got to stroke a check, pay the extra, whatever it is, $190, and have access to that system also. Let me see, Loretta, you had a question that popped up. Oh, her battery's dying. Oh, I hate when that happens.
I live in fear of the battery dying in my lockbox.
Oh,
I have 2 active lockboxes out there.
Okay.
I did talk to Stephanie. Apparently, there's some kind of a warning.
Let me address that. Let me just jump in and share my screen. Okay. I'm going to share my screen and show you guys something about that topic.
And while you're doing that, I want to acknowledge that Lee Cormier, welcome Lee.
Absolutely.
I want to acknowledge that one of our newest affiliates is here. Lee, you've got, what is your business called again?
Wings of a Dove. drone
Wings of a
services.
Dove, and you
Yeah.
do photography and drone services, right?
Yeah, I do 3D virtual tours. I do interior, exterior, and aerial photography, and I edit I edit everything together in a 3 to 5 minute video with music and.
I don't know if you want to queue up any of your work, and we'll swing back around to you afterwards and give you a chance to show off a little bit if you want.
Yeah, well, I just came on today because I was invited, and I'm really not even prepared to do anything right now, but
Okay.
it's kind of curiosity, you know.
How long have you been a professional photographer for realtors?
Well, I started 3 years ago. I'm a retired truck driver, and photography was not really anything I thought much of. I mean, I've always enjoyed it, but I never really did much of it. But due to some shoulder injuries and surgeries, I had to change my careers, and I turned my hobby into a business, and doing pretty well. I enjoy it.
All right, well, good. We're so glad that you became a member, and I hope that if you want to put into the chat to everyone, if you don't know how to do that, ask me, we'll show you. But if you want to put your website and your contact info, if anyone wants to reach out to you for professional photography of their listings, that glad to do that for you.
That'd be great.
And
Yep.
Susie, you're getting Lee into the website, the ECAR website, in terms of affiliate.
Of
Gonna
course.
Get him listed in there.
Yes,
That'd
he's
be great.
absolutely listed. Yes. And,
Awesome.
I believe he's our only photographer at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to jump into screen share, and let me do this real quick, because I want to. That was a good question that Loretta asked, and I'm going to go right into. This is your home page to get into the Sentrilock desktop. And I find that this is the fastest way to get the answer to your question about your, jump into list lock boxes right here. And so it's going to show my boxes, and it shows, I don't know, maybe 10 per page.
Wait, what was
And-
the question again, Greg?
Okay, restate the question. It is battery, fear of the battery dying. And I don't wait. I think I was the first person to ever have a problem with a lockbox. Leave it to the problems happening for me, where it did get stuck on a door, but it was a mechanical issue. It wasn't the battery. But right here under the column of last battery replacement, you can see, so if I click on the lockbox, I can see that the last time that I replaced this battery was 2004. Okay, so the
2004?
I'm sorry, 2018. And you should own it. You should do about every 3 years. By the way, ECAR's got them free. And so the cool thing about this is there's two different things that I think that we can address here. Literally, I'll pop open the lockbox that's next to me. Okay, here's the lockbox, and I'm going to just pull my phone app in here. I've got a folder on my phone with real estate. Of course, Sentrilock's got to be right there, and I'm gonna pop into this lockbox, and I'm going to I want to just show you. Actually, go backwards here. I just want to open the darn thing. So stand by 1 second. Hopefully it'll connect. I don't need to do the one-day code right this second. And I wonder if it's because of the fact that I'm broadcasting to my screen. Let's just see if I can pop that open again. Because I want to just show you guys how easy it is to get that lockbox open. All right. So, and I use the fingerprint. That way, I don't even have to mess around with the my password. So I've got the box open and I'm going to stop the screen share just for a second so you can see, okay, the box is open. So there's 2 Phillips head screws in here. These 2 screws come out, and then this bottom section of the door where it says battery or where it's got the key symbol, this just comes out, and there's 2 batteries in there. I've got some over in a shelf in front of me. But you just replace those 2 batteries, put those 2 screws back in, and then you would go back to, and I'll come back to my app. You'll come back to here and you would say change battery today. So Loretta, it's simple. And if you, I would just look at if you've got settings that are, sorry, if you've got boxes, some of my boxes are sitting on a shelf and they're not on property, so I'm not worried about those. And I won't change those batteries until I put them into use. Does that answer your question in terms of battery?
Yes, definitely. That was helpful.
Okay, now while we're on here, there's another thing I want you to look at, and that is the firmware version, okay? Firmware is the software that runs the boxes. And so I can see that now there's a 5054, and in my brain, I remembered it used to be 5050 was the firmware. I don't have any, actually here's some 5030s. I've never even put these boxes into service for a while. Actually, if I go to some older boxes, yeah, 5030 is my oldest one, but I know I've seen people with like really old ones. And so check your firmware. Now to firmware, when we're talking about that, I'll pull this back over here where you can see my screen, right, on my phone.
Yep.
All right. So on here, what happens, and I'll just, it's easier for me to do it with my hand because I'm so used to doing it. If I come back in here, I will go into my lock boxes, update firmware button. Let me do that again. I kind of did that fast. Update firmware down at the bottom. And I've got to push the bottom right to wake the box up. And it ends up waking up the box. Here we go. Now it's connecting to the box, and it's going to check the firmware. So this box right here is one of my 2 boxes that are up to date. But if you didn't have that, you would just update the firmware when you're in Wi-Fi, not at the house. It's just better to do it here. There's another thing that I'll point out that, again, we're talking what we as agents, we as real practitioners are doing on a daily basis. And I'll say this, when I have new listings, we had a broker tour conversation. I'm sorry, not broker tour, a broker's forum conversation. And it was expressed that it's really annoying when you get a new listing and the box is not connected yet to the system. There's a call home feature where it takes a while for Smart MLS to upload it to, Smart MLS, when you put your listing in and it becomes active, they have to upload it to Sentrilock. So there's a latency and a lag to that. And that could be a problem if you turn, if I did the listing last night, I just turned the listing on this morning, and now I'm getting hammered with showing requests. So I'm going to show you how to deal with that. It's no different than this. If you can get into your brain the thought process of a listing, and I know nobody on the call today would be the one that would go and activate a listing without the photos loaded. That is not a smart thing to do, because now when it aggregates out through all the auto emails to the buyers, they see the new listing has some wording about price, size, address, no photos. You lost a golden opportunity. You should never turn on a listing without having your photos loaded. So think about it this way. Make sure that if you're going to have a listing with an electronic lockbox on it, you've got to put the listing, so you got to put the lockbox setup correct. So I'm going to go back to screen share this. And what we'll talk about here is just putting in a listing. And this is putting it in up front before the listing's even created. And well, if it's in incomplete listing, and I'll just pull over, let's just pull over here and, you know, go into add edit. Okay, if I wanted to add a new listing, okay, a single family home, and I wanted to, I'll just stick my address in here. I'm going to sell my house, which I'll never do. Okay. Search. All right. So if I go in here, I start that listing, right? It's an incomplete listing. I hit submit. Now I have my listing number right there. There's the listing number. So if I come back to here, and I should have just grabbed this, cut and paste it. So if I come back here, I can create a listing easy enough. What did I just do here? Please add a listing. So listings right here, add a listing, because I called tech support. I was irritated with the same exact issue a number of times. So I'll just pick myself. I'm a listing agent. Here's my MLS number that I just grabbed from right here as an inactive listing. And I don't have, you know, we don't even have the photos or anything loaded in there. And what happens, okay, drop the address in. Oops, I just put in two extra numbers there, right here, 76. And watch how easy this is. Save changes. So now the listing's in there. So this lockbox that I've got in my hand that I was demoing the issue, I just look at the last digits, 3567, 3567, here it is. I can assign this before I've even left to go put my sign out on the property, select the listing. It would not normally be in here. If you rely on Smart MLS to push the listing into Sentrilock, it's going to take a while. So I've got to go and just find the listing, 76 Gallup. There it is, 76 Gallup. So I submit the changes, save changes. Now I have the lockbox assigned to a property that doesn't even really exist out there yet. And I think that's I know of some people, there's another hack, another way that people have been dealing with it, and that they've been taking a vacant lot listing and assigning it to a vacant lot, and then they can give one-day codes. Because this is, Brian McCarthy was having an issue with, he needed to give the one-day codes. And it's a good example. I think, Linda, you started off with saying how busy it is. I had a new listing started at 4:30 on Saturday, 26 showings in 72 hours and 8 offers. So yeah, you're going to get hammered with calls. Susie, you're on mute.
I was going to say, wow, are you sure you don't want to sell your home, Greg?
No, not doing it. Problem with that is, my first question to a seller is, where are you going to move to? Yeah, what's your plan? I'd like to know the end, after we achieve your goal, where you're going to be going. Let me see. Linda just said, phone app is not updated. Was able to open lockbox and needed one-day code on the spot. Any help with that? Okay, yeah, that's an interesting one. Linda, if you could unmute yourself and answer a question here. Are you on an iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the difference. This is kind of another great tip for everybody that uses the system. If you're an iPhone, one of the things that Apple does is they don't really let the apps call home automatically. So the trick with that is you have to just open your app. You have to get the Sentrilock app open while you're in Wi-Fi or data range. And if you could just open that app up, then it will call home. If you wait, because it sounds like that question happened where you were at a lockbox and it hadn't called home yet, and you probably were in a dead spot.
It happened twice, and it was pretty local. And I remember a while ago, and I feel so bad. I think we were told that we were supposed to update, but I don't think I really paid attention to that.
Yeah, it's not even really an update per se. So, you know, what happens is that, and sometimes the app, and I'll just say this, sometimes the app will like freeze or something. And all I do is, you know, whatever your phone, every manufacturer is different, but I just go and swipe and I'll, you know, swipe it off, restart the app.
Yes.
And the Apple's the same way. But yeah, Apple, the only thing with an Apple is you gotta, while you're in good Wi-Fi. Now, Niantic, I will say this, I sell a lot of properties down in Black Point, Giants Neck, and I don't know what it is, but our cell phones get stuck between trying to talk to Long Island and, you know, up, you know, by Route 156. And sometimes there are spots where the data is just terrible.
Let me ask you this, Greg. Does the app update automatically if you're all plugged in, or do you have to actually go in and do it?
No, well, it's not necessarily. Let's qualify that. What we're talking about, and I'll go back to sharing my screen for a sec. Okay, so when we talk about the app, where'd my phone go? Get that. Did I get rid of my phone? Hidden behind here. There it is. Okay, so here's my phone. We're not necessarily talking about, and I'll go into, you know, Google Play. Let me just do it manually. So the Play Store right here. This is what you're talking about, where you're going in and you look at my apps, and Apple's got the same thing. This is literally the app updating. Okay, but what happens with Sentrilock is that you really just have to go and open the app on an iPhone. Just opening the app, because now it can call home, is really what you need to do.
Does it automatically update when you open the app?
Yes, that's the key. Okay. That is the key.
Unless maybe if you have low battery juice or there's no Wi-Fi, is there anything that would prevent it?
You got to have Wi-Fi. You got to be in Wi-Fi or data range, and you know that's sometimes, you know, it's just, I wish that iPhones didn't have that issue, because I know that there's plenty of spots where I've got listings. 1919 Center Groton Road. It is like a black hole there. Yeah. Nothing calls home. So yeah, the other thing, I think that's all I wanted to share on the Sentrilock.
Well, let's ask Catherine. What are we planning to do to incentivize our new members, or any member? Right? It doesn't have to be new. What have we got going to streamline the process of gaining access to the Sentrilock system? You're muted.
Sorry. So we've got it set up now where any member of ECAR, when they go to the portal side from our website, and Greg, I'm using you as an example. Okay. So when they're on here, if they click on subscriptions, it immediately brings up a Sentrilock sign up option. And they'll be able to sign up. They can pay the $30 activation fee. Stephanie will get the notification that, you know, somebody has signed up for the service, and then she will reach out to them to finalize that setup.
And one thing I want to make a point, that's a one-time fee. And if you have the option to edit that field that says initial sign-up fee, you might even reword that to be one-time sign-up fee.
Good point. And so when Stephanie gets that notification to finish the process, does the member still need to come in, or is it possible to get them going and mail them a card if they didn't actually want to come in?
That is something I think we would just want to maybe have a side discussion if we want to put that stuff out in the mail.
Right.
But they will get the contract that they need to sign off on. That will go to them via email. They'll need to send it back to Stephanie ASAP. I believe it will give them the ability to at least begin using the app, even though it takes 24 hours to register.
Oh, okay.
So as long as they weren't in a pinch like that day needing service, they could at least begin using the app and then make arrangements with Stephanie to come get the rest of the products.
Oh, no kidding. So they pay, they sign the contract that's emailed to them. The next day, they can actually open a lockbox after they've downloaded the application.
Correct.
Well, and the key thing you
That's
just
great.
said, the thing that you just said, Susie, is that there's two parts to this. Opening boxes and being the listing agent, putting keys in boxes. The listing agents have to make an investment to buy the boxes. But hey, if you're a brand new agent, you probably don't have a bunch of new listings. So you just need to get the access. It doesn't really cost anything other than that initial fee. And it used to be also, when we all changed about 4 years ago, it was they had the combination of the card-based system, because this is national. You got to understand that Sentrilock is a NAR-based product. Why do you think we have the little R on the front of it? So,
and honestly, for new buyers, why wouldn't they want to look like as professional as possible with the newest technology? Say to their buyer client, I only use the Sentrilock key for you because it's electronic. Everything is easily accessible. And that makes you look more of a professional than telling them that I have to call and get the combo from the listing agent. But I think it makes you guys look a lot more, in the know, up to date, modern, hip, and ready to sell. Don't you think so?
well, I'll say this. One thing is that it's not just electronic, but I think that also it's an issue of security. And I'll just say this. I hope it's not any of our 960 agents that have ever done this, but I have walked into a house where there's a buyer in a house, and I asked them, are they an agent or no? Oh no, we're just the buyer.
All by themselves without a buyer agent?
How'd you get in? Oh, well, my agent gave me the code.
Yeah.
So that can't happen
Not
because
good.
I'm
really?
not giving my phone to somebody and someone doesn't have my fingerprint to be able to get through that lockbox. So yeah, from a listing agent standpoint, if they are taking their first listing, the great thing is the talking point that they can use is the fact that it's very secure, because a lazy buyer's agent that says, here's the code to the buyer, can't do that. You stop that immediately.
Yeah.
And it's secure.
And that's a potential violation of the Code of Ethics. Matter of fact, I just got a call on that only a week ago for an inspection service to go in there. The buyer agent gave the 1-day code to the inspection service to do the inspection. Now, that's one thing, right? We're in a COVID pandemic, so that's one thing. But the buyer agent also gave the code to the buyer. So now you have the buyer in there with the inspection service, and you're looking at a Code of Ethics violation. That's the unauthorized use of allowing someone to go into the home. So not cool. And there's an electronic recording of it, so it's pretty easy to come back to, whoever did that. So know your Code of Ethics on that end.
Well, that to the point about people doing things that they think that aren't going to be noticed. I had a seller contact me and say, Greg, I'm not really happy with the 10 o'clock showing that happened that morning. And this was probably 4 in the afternoon. I said, it's a great thing to have a showing. What's wrong? What did something happen? And they said, yeah, both the buyer's agent and the buyers strolled right in. They came in the same car. They weren't driving in separate cars. Okay, they came in the same car. They all got out, no masks on, and they walked in the house, no masks. And these people are COVID concerned sellers. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's not cool. So I had to reach out and contact the agent and remind them, what is the CTR's, protocol? We're deemed essential services for one reason. If you're able to follow the guidelines, and you didn't.
Yeah, we really don't want to lose our
No.
standing as essential service either. That
Mhm.
leads me to one little thing I learned yesterday, an analogy about COVID. Catherine, can I tell it? What do you think?
Oh, good Lord.
So, so I listened to a speaker about the virus traveling by air. It's airborne, right? And it's either the droplets, which you can see with a sneeze, or aerosol, which you really can't see, but it's like lingering little tiny particles. And the speaker said, I have a urologist who can only give this analogy. Imagine two men standing 6 feet apart from each other and facing each other and peeing. And if they have their pants on, chances are it's not going to get to the other side and the other person won't get any on them. But if they both took their pants off and peed, they're going to get it, right? Okay, so make those men stand 12 feet apart and the same thing applies. With their pants on, no, nothing's going to get on the other person, but you take their pants off and now you've not just got it, it's not going to make it 12 feet, but there's going to be a little bit of spray. And then you might get it. It's that spray that you have to be careful of. Okay, that's my analogy. Let's pivot right back to Lee. And we'll close with Lee, one of our newest affiliates. So Lee, you have said in the chat, for the construction field, you also do 2D and 3D surveying and mapping using drone deploy. This would be good for breaking into the beginning stages of building homes, surveying the property and providing the ability to measure elevations and distances from one point to another. Great for measuring roofs or any property. That sounds pretty cool. Do you work with builders?
I can, yes. This is kind of a new field I'm getting into with drone deploy. They do work worldwide. And I was going to say, this is after I find a place to pee. So, but anyway, yeah, I never heard an analogy like that before, but that was good.
The moral of the story is wear your mask.
Yeah, I like the fact that you looked embarrassed while you were saying it. So.
All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, we've got a very small group today, but I think it was informative. We'll make a link for it, make it available. Greg, I thank you for coming on and sharing your great tips on Sentrilock. We want to get the word out that Sentrilock is by far the better product. It just is. ECAR is the trendsetter here.
Actually, Susie, there's one thing I do want to share before we close, okay? And I'm just going to share my screen one more time, and that is...
I also have one more thing if that's
okay. Good.
All right. So I'm going to just show this little feature here. If a agent doesn't, before they get in and they still get a one-day code, the one thing that some people are not aware of, hang on one sec. The thing I wanted to show was under here, here's get the one-day code. And I'll just grab the 3567 is the box number. Oh, you know what? I have a new listing, my house. All right, so.
Be careful, Greg.
So
I might want to buy it. It's got a pool, right?
It does have a pool. So let's say I needed to give Lee access, all right? And to Loretta's point, right here, like I just set up a pre-closing walkthrough the day before closing at the end of the month. So, you know, I can just scroll right here to the date and, okay, here's the 28th of September, select the date. And if I go in here, I click on get the one-day code. All right, I'm a fingerprint guy, great. Oh, I didn't put a valid date? What did I do wrong? Let me just pull it back into here. Did I? Yeah. Okay, so it's getting a one-day code. So what's interesting is right here at the top right, this is actually, if the people have never given a one-day code, I go right to my text messaging. and, you know, let's just say I'm going to send it to Nina Beebe. All right. So one thing is that the first code, this is referencing my lockbox. So a lot of times what I'll do is I will just take that out, because here's the code, because the first number that I just took out was the box number. And I find that that can be confusing for people. So I'll always do this little bit of edit. I'll just do this little edit right. What did I just do? Right here, I'll put in the 76 Gallup, you know.
The house address.
Yeah. Well, I won't even put the full address. I'll just put that. So the one-day code for 76 Gallup lockbox is blank. And so it's really, really, really simple. So that's the last thing I wanted to share, and we can share some more tips at another time.
Oh, and before we go, we do want to remind you guys that our fall harvest social is coming up on September 22nd from 4 to 6:30. This is a free event, a give back, some fun, some food, some drinks, some music. So come and join us. You just got to register. Go. Catherine, do you have that still lined up? Would it be easy to get to show them how to get there, or just
To register for the fall harvest?
Yeah, just go to our website and go to the portal, right? My ECAR portal. What does it say?
Okay. So yeah, if you go right here to where it says My ECAR.
Yep.
And click on that.
That's the top right tab, My ECAR.
It's been a little slow responding. It's still thinking at the moment. Does not want to cooperate.
Oh,
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good.
Here, I'll do it from my end. I'll do it from my end for you.
Yeah, do it from your end, Greg.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I did want to share one other thing, because Greg, you brought up affiliates, and Lee is a new one. I'll show him after. You're quick, Greg.
I'm getting it.
What were you going to show us? Oh, where to find the affiliates?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I can do that.
That's true. Yeah,
so-
you can do it while you're there. So yeah, go to My ECAR. And then if you go to events and just click on events.
Right here.
Yep. And then just go to the
Fall
date
harvest.
and bring you right there to register. And it's completely free for our members, by the
Yep.
way.
Yeah, got it. Location is right there. Description,
Greg,
we
you're
need to
obviously
fill
signed
this.
up, right?
Yeah, we need to fill this in.
Right. Yep.
And it might not be showing because I'm not logged in right now.
Okay.
And then you had a question on the affiliates. Let me get back to the regular site. And
All right, so if you scroll down,
To the
I
middle,
go there.
yeah.
under the
Okay.
photo. Under the photo, find an affiliate service.
it should bring them to the same spot. Yeah. So if you scroll down, you'll notice on the left-hand side, the blue bar, those are all the different categories where we have affiliate members. So Lee, you're actually listed more to the top under drone and photography. And like Susie said, you're the only one that we have. So you're the only one that's listed there. But then if you also, Greg, click on the actual affiliates magazine looking cover on the right there.
Yep. Well, one thing I want to say on that, and I'll defer to Lee, but I might want to reverse it and drop it under photography and drone. Just reverse the two. It's up to you guys. But if I was looking for a photographer,
I agree.
Yeah.
I would hit it. I would hit photography first. Okay, but you said on affiliates when you click on this. Yep.
So this is something new that Member Services put together. It's a new benefit for affiliates. It's free publicity. This is a downloadable, printable directory of all of our affiliates, and it gets updated monthly. So again, when I make that change to the way that the category is listed, Lee, I'll swap it out. But
so
those are all of our affiliates, which is
print
great
this
for your
out, right?
clients.
They can print this out and put it on their coffee tables and share it with their clients.
Now, let me ask you, this is not the one that used to be done by the day where that was costing extra. This is now free included, right?
Correct.
Right. This is in-house. I put this together.
Oh, this is
At the request of
so
member
good.
services.
That is so good. I love
Thank you.
that because it's up to date. You know, someone joining mid-year or after the deadline of the printing.
And there's no fee for it. It's included
fee.
in your membership.
I love it.
Well, one of the things I was hearing was that members assumed the affiliate directory was all of our affiliates. They didn't realize it was a pay to be advertised product. So I think this is a great way to give back to our affiliates.
100%. Love it.
All right, guys, I think that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for our participants. Thank you all for being here, and you guys have a great week.